Today we are here to celebrate Angie Ying's 20th year of working at Novo Nordisk Pharmaceuticals and her receiving of the Milestone Character Award. This award is presented biannually to a member of the company who has consistently displayed strong character that has improved the conditions of the workplace and furthered the company. As her son, I'd like to thank Mr. Lemieux for giving me the opportunity to introduce and present her with this award tonight. For nearly my entire life, my mom has worked at Novo Nordisk, starting in the sales division and working her way to the human resources department, where she has spent the past 12 years. When describing her career path to me in the past, she has many times mentioned that she really found her calling when she received the human resources job, as she really felt like she could make a difference in other people's lives, even if it was in the workplace. She mentioned to me before I came up here that I should refer to her time in the company as a long time, rather than 20 years, as it would make her seem extremely old. So I'm sure she's already having issues with this intro. Many of you know my mom personally and have spent a lot of time with her, but for those of you who have not been able to, I thought I'd share a story that really characterizes her personality and the most important lesson she has taught me. To my mom, every single person deserves to be treated with respect and compassion, no matter what their situation is. This story is one of my first memories as a child at an age of about 7 or 8 and is something that I'll never really forget. My mom and I were walking down Bloor Street in downtown Toronto during a cold morning in January on our way to one of my hockey practices. Of course, we can all relate to the cold Canadian winters and how little time one can spend outdoors without their hair frosting over or having their cheeks frostbitten, trying to keep their neck warm and ears from falling off. Walking about 50 yards in front of us, across from the Royal Ontario Museum, was a group of about 4 or 5 homeless men and women trying to shelter themselves under an awning of a clothing store that was not even open. Despite the unbelievably cold weather, we watched as store owners and even passerbyers berated the group of homeless people and told them to move away from the awning even though the store was closed. Being about 50 yards behind them, we watched as they tried to find a temporary respite from the snow at 3 separate awnings of stores before someone immediately forced them away. And they ended up sitting down at the corner of Bloor and Yonge, huddled together as the snow fell on them. When we noticed these men and women struggling to stay warm, my mom took me into the McDonald's and then the Tim Hortons across the street and bought them all hot beverages, waters, coffees, and a meal. She asked me to help carry it outside and help hand out the drinks and food to the people huddling for warmth. Although it wasn't much, it was amazing to see what a few bags of food and hot drinks could do to help another person in those kind of conditions. We understood that it was reasonable for the store owners and passerbys to do what they did to an extent, but the extremely cold weather really left the men and women with little options but to try and survive and find warmth. My mom didn't say much, but explained to me after that it's hard to know the circumstances of another person's life and the good and bad things that lead them to certain places, but that one should always try and help others if they are in a position to do so. That morning is something that I will never forget, and I'm sure many of you have witnessed her incredible compassion at some point in the past 20 years at Novo Nordisk. So I hope I didn't embarrass her by sharing this story, but when Mr. Lemieux asked me to say a few words about my mom's character and what really makes her a supportive person, this was the first thing that came to my mind. And also for those of you who have asked me multiple times tonight if she is really that bubbly and energetic at home as she is at work, I can confirm that she is, and she seems to run on an endless battery at sometimes. On a more serious note, I can tell by the way that she talks about her day that she's really loved her time at Novo Nordisk and values all of you as friends as well as co-workers. So without further ado, I'd like to present Angie Ying with the 2015 Novo Nordisk Milestone Character Award.